which Clint would. Important to Clint that we made clear that, he doesn't have authority to do anything about it, but we hope that he will partner closely with us because he has much more experience and he may be the one who pieces if we're out of line. Right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yes, any town manager. Yeah, this is what staff does on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, if I'm not doing something appropriate, it's likely I'm doing it because I don't know, not because I'm being malicious.
So Clint and I worked on that language together. So
Yeah.
I think it feels good now to us. Does it feel good to you, Jacob?
It does. Yeah. Yep.
Excellent. Okay, the third area we were asked to do a little rewrite on was about council meetings. And again, I literally just pulled this straight out of the charter language to be sure that as a new counselor, you would understand not just sort of what our typical practice is, that we have regular council meetings typically right now on Monday nights. And there's 2 of those a month typically, but we're only required to hold 1 a month. So we can sometimes cancel one when there's a busy season, or we just typically take 1 off in August often. And then try to articulate clearly what the difference is between special meetings and regular meetings. Again, I think it's important that we cleaned this up because it used to have some language in here that Clint and I could not find any ordinance or state law that validated the language, something about civil emergency, and we can't find any language that backs that up. I don't really.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sorry. Rob just texted he locked his keys in his car, but was able to coat hanger back in, and now he's sitting at traffic at College and Park for the past 8 minutes.
Oh dear. Okay, well, he'll be here when he gets here. Poor Rob.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think this is clear, and the special meeting, by charter and ordinance, allows us to call a meeting as long as we give 24 hours notice, and I think we're covered, and everything. Feel good about it? Okay, so that puts us back that then we could approve those sections with the addition of the 1 sentence that I'll add about best practices that council will in fact approve a budget before the start of the next fiscal year. And we can move. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, going back to meetings.
Yes.
Is a workshop a meeting? Do we need to say anything about our workshops?
There's a separate section that we're going to get.
Okay.
Policy manual about workshops.
Okay.
So you can hold off. And technically, no, they are not officially regular or special meetings. They are their own category of thing.
Yep.
Because we can't take any votes at them. So the only thing that counts as a council meeting is the places where council can conduct business and vote. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. All right, so we're done looking at these I've taken a note of the 1 sentence I need to add, and we're back to looking at the actual document itself. And we agreed that we would pick up where we left off, which is line 601 in that document, which is agenda packages. Do you have that document also, Jacob?
Yes. Yep.
I'm sorry, Don, for the purposes of the public, I don't know that we have any way to easily screen share this right now, do we?
I could probably do it.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Well, I think Clint may be able to, if he can, he'll do it. So we're looking at, just in general, as we go through, there are some notes that we've made down the side of areas we flagged that I think are a little problematic that we might want to change. The first one is there's this notation. First, it's saying we have an agenda package with every agenda, which is true, which includes town manager's notes, which is true, and background materials as appropriate. The part I find a little strange is the parentheses, which says a brief overview of each item on the agenda. Sometimes there isn't an overview needed. Is there always an overview of every item, Clint? You gotta look, because this is really a staff question. If you feel that's accurate, we can leave it, but I think we could just take that out.
Log it in.
Yeah, take your time, take your time. And the other part.
I agree, Sarah.
Yeah.
I mean, as it currently stands, some items don't have a description or a explanation because they're self-explanatory.
Right. Sometimes there's no extra explanation that is needed. It just says, action item, this proposed ordinance, and there's no explanation needed because the ordinance is right there in front of you.
Yeah.
So I was thinking perhaps that parentheses should go.
So where would the parentheses?
At line 604. it later says that background materials for each item as appropriate. So
Yeah.
I feel like it's already covered without that parentheses, and I think that parentheses makes it sound like you're required to write a description of every single thing, which
Yeah.
I don't think you need to do.
Nope, I would take it out.
So can we take that out? Okay, great, that's going. Okay. Hi, Rod.
Hello.
Sounds like you had quite an odyssey getting here.
Yeah, I'm pretty irritated, but I'll be okay.
I'm glad you're here. Okay, that one's done. We are on the policy procedures manual. We are up now to line 607. So you can take your time and join us. Then the next part, Clint, is also, you'll see at 607.
Yep.
There's this language about the town providing a tablet to every counselor, and I don't think this is true anymore.
It got really popular for a while before I got done, so I think it was probably that they put it in there because people were doing it and everybody was getting a tablet, but I think it's gotten to the point now where everybody owns their own electronic devices, and it was a FOIA thing too, that people get nervous and go, okay, they're gonna take my laptop if I download it and do this, and you know, I think we're past that, so I can delete it.
The last person I remember taking advantage of that was Tom, the last town council chair.
Here.
Harry, yeah.
Okay, well, what I was wondering is, obviously, it's not policy that one is issued to every counselor now. I don't know if it needs to go here under agenda packages, or if there's a better place I could look through.
Why don't we just say that the town staff will provide a paper or electronic copy for the request of each counselor, because that's what we do.
And I can
We
imagine,
like the new counselor, they said, I want a paper copy, we give you a paper copy every meeting.
I can also imagine there being some, particularly low income
Right.
person elected to office who would need a laptop or a tablet. So I wouldn't want to strike that entirely.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say, that, I think we need language somewhere that says that a laptop will be provided to a counselor if needed upon request, or some electronic device. I don't know what you'd say, I mean, tablet, I guess, but,
You got a budget that could cover it, so yeah, you
Right.
could.
so
That's
tablet.
just gotta be returned at the end of your.
Yes, yes.
So we could, is it a tablet that would be provided, or a tablet or laptop? I would just say something.
Yeah,
Right.
electronic device.
Yes.
All right.
No need to.
Yeah,
Okay.
next thing you know, they're gonna invent a
Okay.
Wazzle that's better than tablets.
So
and
do we
laptops.
just say electronic device, or electronic device that does what? That will allow you to access, I mean,
I would just say, keep it simple, electronic device.
Okay, will be provided to a counselor if needed.
Yep.
I'm not sure, I agree entirely that that needs to stay somewhere. I'm just not really sure if buried under agenda packages is where it should be, or if there's a better place when I look back. So I'll make sure that I, after this meeting, look through and see if there's a logical place for that to go.
Imagine if anybody who was in the position where they would need one, probably be something that rises to the top of mind for them somewhere close to the beginning.
That's what I kind of think too, that it'd be better if we found somewhere earlier to put that. So I can take a look at that after the meeting and go back through the whole document. And in the meantime, here in this section, we're gonna take out this part about, not distributing paper copies and blah, 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 and change this to say something more generic, like what Clint just said. So, counselors can access from their tablet, computer, other device. Town staff will provide a paper or electronic, copy, or a paper copy if needed. Is that fine? All right. You're saying if they want some, they can still ask for a paper copy. If
Just current
requested.
practice.
Right, exactly, okay. All right, so that's that. What do we see next down there that anyone has concern about?
I think I use the agenda is perfect. We have to discuss it all.
That looks
This entire
good.
Section, yeah. I
Okay,
don't know what the committee thinks, but you reworked it a little bit. That looks perfect.
okay. I'm good to everyone
Actually, not
else?
rework, it's a new ad
Yeah, I did it because it wasn't there.
there. Oh, it's good.
So I drafted,
Yeah, it looks great.
okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm taking notes on our decision so I can fix things in the meeting. So then we get into public participation during council meetings is the next section. I really did my best to just go here again and write what we're currently doing that's printed on our agendas. And I think this accurately matches what's printed on our agendas, but I will say I drafted this like a couple years back. So do we have a copy of the agenda we could look at, Clint, just to be sure?
Copy of the agenda.
One of our agendas, because it says on the public comment time, it describes what each public comment time is for.
Oh, yeah, it
I
does.
just want to be sure, because I drafted this when we began
It
this
does,
process
yeah.
of looking at the policy procedures manual, which is nearly 2 years ago now.
So you want me to bring up an agenda, just look at what.
Yeah,
it
let's
says.
just double check. So right now it tells us that the public comment near the beginning of the meeting is for items not on the agenda. I know that to still be true. And then actually it's citing ordinance, second in accordance with town ordinance. Oh, this is what's interesting. I gotta check the ordinance. Does the ordinance still refer to new business? Because we don't have a section called new business anymore. So pull up, for anyone who's on Muni code, we're gonna look at chapter 2, article 2, section 229V. Very techie, Don. This is what happens at these meetings. We go right down into charter and ordinance a lot, which is
Yep.
really
Want me to
important.
read you the public comment one, or do you?
Do you want to read it out? You got it right on your screen? It's
It's right here.
229V.
Oh, you want that first?
Oh,
I didn't know
whatever
which
you've
one.
got first, go ahead.
Okay, so the Orono Council welcomes feedback, public comment to start, first and last name, regardless whether in person or Zoom, all comments are capped at 5 minutes. Or shorter time limits may be set by the chair in advance on anticipated meeting length and audience size. Generally, shorter comments are more effective. Comments about specific employees, whether positive or negative, are prohibited. During the meetings, complaints or allegations against employees are similarly prohibited and should be addressed through town policies and procedures. Although council may briefly provide a factual answer to a question or correct a factual error, council primarily listens to public comment and response, if any, would come to council discussion later.
Okay,
And I can say that there in the ordinance, at least under V, there is no reference to new businesses.
good. So let's clean that up because that's not currently what that section's called on our agenda. All right, so you're looking at.
Called
the-
Action items.
But actually, I believe that that statement is true, not just of action items. I believe we also do it, we allow public comment on
Everywhere.
everywhere. Like we don't.
You
really-
don't do it, except report, you don't do it with reports, council
We
reports.
don't do it for
managers-
council reports.
Yeah.
We don't do it for managers' reports. We do it for discussion items though,
Yeah.
and action items.
Yeah.
So is there any other section of the agenda we're forgetting other than discussion and action?
Well, slide, but except sessions, there's no public comment.
Right, and the other things, public hearing, there's obviously
Always
public comments.
Yeah.
I
think you got it well written.
we just gotta clean up the language that doesn't quite match there. So let's take a.
So
look.
now that I'm looking at the agenda, what's the difference between a public petition and a public comment?
Petition is a formal thing where they have to go get. signatures
Oh, okay. Yep.
and bring
No.
forward something they're asking. And you can, if you search the ordinances under public petition, there's very specific rules on the number of.
Yes,
All of
Yep.
that. Yeah, does that help, Jacob?
yes, you triggered, yep, I knew, yes, it's a formal, yeah.
It'll be on that because they presented.
Yeah, typically the agenda, the petition's been presented ahead to staff and they've double checked the signatures and it's already been added officially to the agenda, but technically someone can show up and present one there also. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're looking here, first during the public comment time. Right, second, in accordance with the town ordinances during, we're gonna change this language here, so it doesn't say new business. So how about just second in accordance with the town code of ordinances and separately for each item? The council chair will open the floor for public comments after staff. Does that sound fine? And then that way, we don't need to specify the titles of the sections because who knows, some future counselor may change that and call it something different than discussion items and action items. So how about I just take out that part about during the new business section of each meeting? Does that seem acceptable?
Mm-hmm.
Great, I'm gonna do that. I don't know if I'm in it mode. Okay. Thank you. Anything else in this category that's jumping out at folks? Seems all right. All right. Okay. Oh, no. I have to turn this off. Shoot. Sorry. Make sure that I'm not. All right, I'm gonna mess with that later. Okay, onward, chair will open the floor, staff present first. Is it always staff that provide background information? Always, so that's accurate, is there some?
Or I guess you could have an invited expert.
Okay. but it is never, sometimes, is it ever a counselor who's actually presenting the background information? I was trying to think through meetings. Has there been one where?
You might on occasion, but you're really not supposed to.
Right,
So
so
in the sense
really,
that you're the board. that
unless
you're
the
gonna
staff
ask.
sort of invites you to say
Yeah,
something further
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Okay,
You know, your committees may report, but no, as far as a counselor having expertise, that would be that unique situation that.
okay.
Yep.
All right, so all we gotta do is eliminate that one phrase. I'm gonna mess with that again. You want it's coming next here. The intent of public participation seem accurate. I didn't change that paragraph at all.
Yes, seems good.
We look good? Okay. Great, on to actions councils can take during council meetings.
Yep.
All right. And I took this from
Right out of the.
charter and then Bridge Mitch directly out of the kneecap report, which was already approved by council.
Yeah.
So I feel like this has already been pretty vetted, but if anyone sees anything under this, I think this is important as a new counselor to kind of understand like what you can actually do at a council meeting. You know, we can vote on an issue and resolve it. We can send an issue to a future council meeting for further discussion, which means we've tabled it definitely, like with a date in mind.
Yep.
We can table indefinitely, which means it sits there and expires after 90 days. If we don't do anything further with it, we can send an issue to committee with a clear task if we use the committee referral form. Or here, Jacob, here comes workshops. We can send it to a workshop.
Yep.
Which can be done if it needs like half an hour discussion or more, kind of. Is the idea, right? Okay, everyone good with that?
Yep.
All right. What's the next section that comes after that?
Signing of documents. Good.
Yeah, that still looks
Minutes
accurate.
and
Mike?
recording's fine, your question is accurate, we do not, I mean, I would not put that in your rules anyway. We archive it, it's available online.
Yeah, and so, so we should change that. The town streams the live council meeting on is on YouTube still, or are we somewhere else? Where do we live stream these days?
I think it's still, it's just YouTube now. We used to have it on Facebook as well, but now they just went to YouTube.
Yep.
Okay, so the only thing is, we don't have CD copies, right?
Again, what I would say is if people need reproduction, I would put languages, if a person wants a reproduced copy, just contact the town office. Maybe a USB, it might be CD, it might be something, but we might even just email it, so.
Okay, I'm adding that in my notes to fix. If a person wants a reproduced copy, is that what you're saying?
Contact town.
Please contact the town office. Done. Okay, good. What comes next?
Meeting ground rules, you did nothing, move those to appendix B. You deleted the ones we just talked about,
Where are you up to?
you deleted the agenda, you moved the agenda packages and
Yeah, we moved those.
so they're
and then-
showing up here as deleted, but.
Right, but I actually moved them earlier, so they weren't deleted. Meeting ground rules are appendix B, so we'll get to those later.
Yep.
And then this was my suggestion that I had sent a separate document with text about council committee and workshops.
Mhm.
And I would suggest that we want to put this, we want to put the council committees part here after we've talked about council meetings. It used to be reversed. They talked about committees before meetings, which I think was bizarre. Like the
Yeah.
meetings are the central thing and the committees are secondary. So this is gonna go way back to the original email that went out to everybody in July when we started this work to look at the committee's descriptions, and workshops. And I did it separately because I was too confused. I didn't want to mess up our line numbers too much because we had at that point still comments that were tied to old line numbers. So I do think we need to go back to the July email and open up the section on committees and workshops to take a look at here. Is that acceptable to everyone? Because it will come at this point in the policy and procedures manual. Yes?
Yeah,
So,
let's see if I still have that July email. I bet you I probably still do.
yeah, I'm gonna pull it up too.
All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing this one.
Yeah,
Go find
thank
the other
you.
one, bring it up.
Got it. So that would have been, I believe, from me. And it should have been just before our first July meeting, so.
Text or email or attachment?
It was in an email originally before our July meeting, and it was a separate attachment, I believe, in that email. So all we gotta do is find, it was around July, we met for about July.
Committee council needs to do a certain time.
Okay, so the email went on July 22nd, I
Yep.
believe.
There's two of them though.
Yeah, but I think,
It's the symbol by itself, I think, isn't it?
Okay, so I'm looking at one that went at 3:09 PM on July 22nd. And I believe this is correct. Let me take a look. Yep, this is it. Okay.
Called draft B and B.
Yep, draft P and P alternate text. Okay, we already looked at number 4 on here, which was a council responsibility one. And if you scroll to the second page, it says types of board, no, that's further that. Let me get to, here we go. We're on page 3, there's yellow highlight. It says rewrite of council committee meetings and workshop section. Anyone having trouble finding it still?
And on the screen.
Okay. Any luck, Jacob?
I can't find it, but Clint just put it on the screen.
I'm gonna resend it to you though, just because I know sometimes when I'm on the screen, the
Perfect.
of trying
Thank you.
to look at tiny type. Be hard. Rob, do you have it? Do you want me to re-forward? Okay. Jacob, I'm forwarding.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. You should have it in a minute. Here we go. It's the second attachment that has yellow highlight draft PMP. Okay. There we are. We want to take a look at this text and we'll give ourselves some time to read.
Got it.
This basically is lifted again directly from the kneecap report.
So it's fine.
So after you do the 5 definitions, there's the standing council committees,
Mhm.
purpose committees. That's, you're proposing that goes in as well?
The list of the current committees.
Yeah,
I would, because I think it's important counselors understand, because they are asked to serve on them a lot. It's good to know like, which ones are you
so you're
choosing to
gonna be
be.
constantly updating.
Except the standing 4 committees, I don't think it's gonna update a lot.
Those ones, yeah, I was kind of getting into the fact that there's a reference, at one point says we should add
Weird.
good neighbors, a special.
That's a
We're not
different
in-
thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. I
Yeah.
wanted to just make sure we weren't,
Do we have a link on the website? We'll plug that in. I
Yep.
think where you can just find the charges for the standing committees.
Yep,
So
they're
council
all
has
there.
other standing committees, so we'll plug the link in there.
Yep.
And the ordinance is cited. I guess I want to say to this group, Clint and I had a discussion. One thing I'd like to be sure we do with this policy and procedures manual is every time something ties to an ordinance or charter, that we cite what ordinance and charter it refers to for multiple reasons. One, I think it's good for counselors to know where this stuff's coming from, but 2, when we have to update the manual, that means we can do a search for if we make a change to an ordinance, right? If ordinance 229 gets amended and updated, then we search the policy and procedures manual for ordinance 229, and every part of the manual that has to get tweaked will be easy to find. Otherwise, if we don't keep citing it and we as a council change an ordinance and you don't know what part of the manual ties to that, that's how you get out of sync, right? The ordinance gets changed and the manual is too hard to update. Does that make sense? Yeah, so I'm trying, and I will do one more over on that, when we get to the end to see where else there may be ordinances that we still are missing, but I've been trying hard. Okay, adoption form should be completed, seems okay. Where are we at for process for delegating items and tasks to committee?
Sorry, are we off of
Are we
the
going
committee
back or-
descriptions?
I'm just continuing down. I was reading through the next page, so we're still on standing council committees.
Now on page 4.
Yeah, page 4.
Okay, can we
Yeah.
go back up to the prior page, the special committees?
That part we already looked at previously, and it's gonna, we had decided it was gonna be an appendix. Like all this detail about every single committee and Shelley's cool graphic can be an appendix.
Okay,
But
to piggyback on what Clint said, in that section number 4, it lists special committees in Orono currently include yada, 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 yada. Do we want to just get rid of that because special committees are constantly being changed? That way, every time, if for some, comprehensive plan committee, that'll go away soon. Good neighbor committee will go away. or may not go away. But either way, this seems like a section that would be constantly changing as we add and subtract committees.
Wherever your was.
Thing is gonna be appendix. We had decided that it's under council role, this whole thing, I know this is confusing, but we did this before a while back. Where we were
Okay.
talking about council roles, and one council role was appointing committees, and then it went into what kind of committees we appointed. We said this was all gonna be an appendix. If we go back to the other document, there's notations in there, but yes, even in that case, we could consider saying, maybe just changing the language to say, some special committees which have existed include. And then, you know, they just.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Or yeah,
Something.
if we've already discussed this and agreed on it, then let's just move on. I didn't
bulleted-
realize we had already.
The five bulleted types need to stay put.
And that's what I think he's, doing. The
Yeah.
five bulleted types in number 4.
Yeah, I get it.
Starts listing the names of all these special
Yeah.
committees, so it's gonna,
Well,
okay.
so what I'm saying is, we could just list them as like, these are some examples of
Yeah.
what special committees have been. And there should be a link here to Shelley's document, which is
Correct.
maintained
Okay.
digitally online and updated all the time.
Yep.
So as a special committee is taken off or added, Jacob, Shelley updates that document.
Perfect.
There'll be a link dropped in there, and I could change this language in here just to say like, here are some examples for the person who doesn't want to bother to click on the link. Does that sound fine?
No,
Okay.
this from having to be constantly.
Right.
checked on.
Yes.
Thing for 5 examples of committees we.
Right.
Yep, perfect.
Right, on number 5 is the one about council appointed, right?
Yeah.
So we can change that language to say something like examples, and the biggest, most important thing is the link to Shelley's document, because that is what gets updated in pretty much live time.
Yep.
Is that good? Okay, so back lower, understanding committees.
Yep.
This is the part we're looking at now. We get to page 4, was a process for how things get delegated to committees and how communication happens back. So let's read that.
So I had an idea here.
Yeah.
And it came up in ordinance. Should we reference in the purpose of committees that new initiatives, is the ordinance, and we talk about this, because we were talking about how they're gonna review a ordinance. Then all of a sudden they stumble and say, you know what, we should go, and this is a big change. We're really gonna dig. They should bring that back to the council.
We should.
So I think we should have some language in here that says that maybe committees should not be generating their own workload without presenting to council to confirm. Because what we were talking about there is this is where staff can accidentally get caught into a lot of research, a lot of work. And we just need to make sure that that's always balanced with the entire council.
Yeah.
That's been one of those ones. So that was the only thing that, and
Add
again, it
something
just
there.
came up at ordinance review. So I don't know how, do you want me to make a stab at that, or do you want?
I can easily, I'll take a stab at it.
Okay.
I'll send it your way since I've got a long list to do
Sounds
today anyway. But basically what you're looking for is that standing committees should come back to the council for reapproval if,
If
what?
they're going to take on a significant initiative or a more time consuming review,
Mhm.
you know, of something.
Or
Because
any
I
expansion.
guess, yeah,
Expansion is really more,
If the scope of a charge is changed.
yeah, they shouldn't be generating their own charges.
Yeah.
Like, there's, you know what, we want to do this, let's go do
Yeah.
this. No, committee should then say, council, can we go do this?
right. I think it's totally appropriate for a committee to be starting on a project and then go, oh, it might make this simpler if we did something like this, but then it needs to come back to council to say, we're thinking we need to also explore this other idea. How do you
Yeah.
feel about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
okay,
you wouldn't want the ordinance review committee to say, you know what, we want a brand new ordinance.
Yeah.
That does this, and
Right.
then you go and build it and then bring,
Yeah.
go ask the
Okay.
council if they agree first. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll add some kind of language there, and I think that's important. I really do think that committee structure is working well, and we're figuring out how to make it work, and things like this are exactly the right thing.
Suppose like the workers' comp,
Right.
at finance, we
Yeah.
talked about it, got council approval to do it.
Right, and the structure, that was exactly the goal here, right? Like, everything starts at council. That's what we're trying to emphasize in the manual. Everything has to start at council, and committees only do what they are charged to do.
Yep.
Right, okay, got it. We'll make that clearer there. Membership on committees, you think is accurate? Can someone else give that a read and see?
Membership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Should you allow, I mean, allow a counselor to leave of absence from a committee if they need to? I don't think that would be, probably not, right?
I think if they want off, someone else ought to get appointed, because I
Yeah.
think it's difficult for the committees to keep going if
Sorry,
there's
small.
not three of us, because then if one person's out, you're down to one,
True.
and that doesn't really make it.
Makes sense.
So I'm
Yep.
thinking that sound okay if folks will leave it. All right, so that section we feel okay on membership.
So hold on, I'm reading the membership and maybe, yeah, I'm sure it's fine, but during okay, so that paragraph during the month of November and until a new standing committee, yada yada yada. The last line is no individual who's no longer an Orono town councilor will be eligible to continue serving on a standing committee. So does that mean that if somebody gets voted off the council, that person is no longer eligible to serve on a committee, or that person is no longer eligible to serve after, I guess, when does the term start?
Well, standing committees only have counselors on them, so, so the election happens on the first Tuesday of November.
Yep.
And we can't like change the committee membership overnight because the new counselors need, and the old counselors need to all let the council chair know, like what
Yep.
committees do you want to serve next year, the council chair has to review it, so there's a lag.
So when does somebody's term start? I guess, let me ask it this way. When does somebody's term start?
Election day, you're done.
Election day, yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, on the election day, you're out of office. The next morning, that the winners will come in and be sworn in by Shelley or the
So
clerk.
What this means is that the standing committee might shrink, right? So like on finance committee, right now, for example, Leo's on finance committee.
Leo will be done the day
Right.
of the election.
And he's not choosing to run for reelection, so we know he's not gonna be
Correct.
reelected, so he won't be there after the election. And so it'll just be you and Jacob and I on
That's
until we
okay.
get a person added. So there will be a time when a committee could shrink to two if it was a worst case scenario and multiple people were elected off. I don't know if we need a provision for that, but I kind of think that committee is probably kind of on hold for those 3
Yeah.
weeks.
Go
Waiting
back to
for
the
the,
committee
right,
cancellation rules and we just
Right.
cancel.
right. I think
So
that,
my understanding of that sentence is correct. Perfect.
that sound good, Jacob?
Yep.
Okay. All right, committee meetings, let's look at that section. Okay. We had very clear language in here about what to do if a fourth counselor is present. This came from the ECAP report after discussion that we planned to have
Sit,
with.
don't talk. Yep.
Right. Think we're good on that?
You know, the one thing we don't have that kind of a little bit came up, standing committees. Should we spell it out? They meet at the town office. Because we talked about having some offsite meetings from time to time, but it brings in accessibility issues. You've got to make
Right.
sure that it's ADA accessible. So I wonder if we should say that official committee meetings must be in a public, an Orono building with video and ADA accessibility.
If we're gonna say it, I think it's more than just for committee meetings, it's also for council meetings. So really you want to say all council meetings, all council standing committee
All-
meetings.
Yeah,
And,
All official meetings of the town.
right, because it's also not just standing committees, it's special committees too. We said the special committee can't choose to meet somewhere else either, right?
well, the specials, so like DEIB has done some offsites because they decided to do a conference workshop and they posted it that they were gonna meet at a. Did they meet at the library or private residence? I can't remember which one they ended up doing.
But I also am thinking about, occasionally, we have. Maybe a full
Tour.
council get
We
a
did a
tour
tour.
somewhere and those are publicly noticed in
Or
some
maybe
way.
not.
Yeah.
Um,
I
But
just think you gotta somehow put in there that the committees should always take into account public access.
Yeah.
And the guests.
so all committee meetings are open public notice meetings, and need to be scheduled.
Yeah.
In an ADA compliant manner.
Because I mean, we do have also, we made accommodations, people can call us and we set up I mean, I don't know if ADA compliance is maybe a bigger thing for down the road. Let's get this done and
Yeah.
I'll look into it.
Let's look where that goes, because I think it's important, but I don't think it should be buried under standing committee meetings. It ought to be somewhere.
Let me
at the
find,
beginning of
and let me
council
research
meeting.
what
Yeah.
I make right.
So we're gonna let Clint research that one, and I will meanwhile, as I'm going through this next round, look for a logical place that it might go, because I don't think we want to bury it.
There might be a law.
Yeah.
And I'll go find it.
Okay. Clint will research that. Sounds good. All right,
The rest of the section was.
pretty good. All right, so then we get into special committees. This also came pretty much directly from the NECAP report.
When do you want the reports to by?
And that was my question. We didn't put a deadline, so this is kind of new for special committees, so I guess Clint. I do think you might need to have staff reach out to all existing special committees to be clear that we're expecting to get at least a written report back from them each year, because I'm not sure.
Why don't you say anyway?
Yeah, it does say that at the moment. I don't think it has a date. Oh, okay.
But it says
I didn't-
by.
Because you had flagged that it would be complicated to coordinate if we didn't know by when. My own feeling would be, although the town runs on a fiscal year, July to July, a lot of people on special committees are not thinking fiscal year, they're really more thinking calendar year. So I would tend to think a logical time might be just before the end of the calendar year. And then,
I like more like July or August, if not done, if it hasn't already been done. That way we can look at the deadline. So like say, like if you said August,
yeah,
we can look back and if the good neighbor happened to issue a report in June. It was due by August, you did it in June, we're all good, so that we should report back at least once a year, no later than August.
Would it feel complicated for any reason from staff perspective to have it be sometime around the election so that it's
Exactly.
coming when new councilors are coming on?
Yeah.
So that all that information is.
It's busy.
what if we?
Yeah.
Right,
I
it's busy.
appreciate that if it makes more sense to put it in. the
So
summer.
we live in this university town where everything goes pretty much dormant in the summer. So my worry about giving a deadline that's in the summer is that if some group realizes, oh, we didn't do our report, or you're trying to reach them to say, we didn't get our report in August, and the group doesn't even meet often. So I think I would feel more comfortable having it be like maybe
November,
September or October, not right at election. Like, could we
Okay.
ask like by October 1st or something, so people are at least back on the
or
school
by the
calendar
last
year?
meeting,
For our last meeting or who's last?
by the last, because I mean, this report isn't going to be a report, it's going to be a document.
Right, but
That
I
way
just
we'll put
mean,
it in the agenda so that people will see it's been completed. So I would say that, why don't we say by the last meeting in October?
well, I guess maybe we want two things, because we want a deadline for when they need to submit it, which will be different than when staff gets it to council.
October 1.
Okay, so maybe change that as submit annual report to council by October 1, but again, who should they submit it to? Because if it says to council, that may be confusing about like, who am I sending that to? So maybe a sentence that adds, I don't know.
Just, how about they give it to the town?
To the
clerk?
staff liaison, or, I mean, isn't,
Yeah,
One
Amanda,
designated person, so Amanda or
Yeah.
town manager's office.
town manager's office.
Okay, all right, to town manager's office
And then we'll track who's not done, and if they
Right.
don't do it,
by
Bring it in.
October 1st.
order for the council to disband a committee for failure to submit an annual report.
Yeah, I mean, Jim just said, maybe this is sort of complicated, but, each committee's having a staff liaison.
Yeah.
What if they just make sure that that's given to that person
Um,
and then that,
The town manager's office saying no,
All right,
they
that's
don't, I think it gets it to the,
I like the idea, except I don't think every committee has a town staff liaison. I'm not sure whether the beautification
True,
committee
yeah.
has one or the
Oh,
trail.
yeah.
There's a lot of variation in special committees, so I think just something simple, they might or they might not, so I'm not really clear. Okay, Onward,
and there might be changes down the road.
yeah,
Just roll.
all right, I'll work on that. We probably don't need to list the special committees, we talked about that, right? Got it. And again, charges can be found at a link, because I think every special committee now also has a charge online. But I can check that on the town website, I'll check that, but I think so then we're on to council workshops, Jacob,
woo,
let's finish it.
let's do it.
I would add in the first sentence, no votes taken, but it is typical that consensus or a direction will be obtained for later council action.
Okay, hold on, but it is typical that,
A consensus or direction will be determined for future council action, which matches your language that you take action.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Votes at workshops. Yep.
I like the part about not overusing them, because the problem with workshops is that we can't take votes, so they can really delay things if we're there and we're like, oh, we're ready to vote, everything's online, staff feels like we're ready, but then we can't. So I do think that's important too, that we don't overuse them, and it has some examples of things we've typically used workshops for. We feel good about it?
Yeah.
All right. This goes at the end of first paragraph of that. All right, I think we're at a good stopping point here, and we'll be back in at the regular document. I do want to have, we jump right back in where we just were, so let's look.
Communications and that's.
Yeah, where we at line 719 is where we pick up next time. I wanted to quickly get back to this group that, we also, Clint and I were asked to look at the yearly calendar. Clint's done a draft with staff. I just got it yesterday. I'm gonna take a look at that.
Let's
and-
merge it.
Yeah,
I can
we'll
work on
meet
merging
again and
it.
bring you something more organized on the yearly calendar part. And then lastly, we had agreed we would return to discussion about appointing someone to the Personnel Board of Appeals potentially. We have one candidate, but are we set to be able to go into executive session right now and have that discussion
Yeah.
plan?
Yeah,
Okay.
set it up.
So it's okay, we didn't think we'd have time today. But let's commit that next month we'll go into executive session. There's the only open spot we have right now on a committee. And we do have potential candidates, so
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
I know it's important to keep them going. Past practice of the town has always been not to keep filling them throughout the year.
right,
This happens once a year.
Right.
And we're now dragging into October, November.
Yeah.
Is this one that we say that once we're within so many months of the next year, we'll just hold it open?
it's a good point.
I don't know, because this
Yeah.
is something where, and I don't want you to
Like that
feel,
too. Yeah,
but I mean, I think this is also one to say, hey, you know what, why don't we reach out? We've got the
Yeah.
candidate for next time and we're not even gonna, I don't know.
I think it's an interesting discussion to have, because I think that it would be easier for a committee not to have to keep revisiting it so often. On the flip side, some of these, especially appeals boards, are very small.
Yeah.
And so I think it's hard for them to function when they're not fully staffed up. Were
True.
they called in when there's a committee of 3 and you're down to 2? So my inclination is that it might be, I don't know, like maybe the planning board, which has like 7 people, maybe it's not a real big deal if they're running with 6. But I wonder with these committees that only have membership of 3, when they shrink to 2, I don't even know how that happens if you have to vote and there's 2 of you and you each vote a different way. Like what happens, right? Like there's no tiebreaker vote. So I'm not sure. I think we should talk about it procedurally. It's a great question.
Yep,
Um,
okay.
Don, how you doing there? You still there? Is she muted or is she on?
She shut her mic off.
Okay, well, anyway, Don, thank you for being here with us.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate it. Nice to have a community member for a change. Anything you wanted to add?
No, nothing. I hope you have a nice day.
Thanks, you too. All right, so I think we'll wrap it up. We'll revisit at line 719. Hopefully Clint and I will have some calendar things to look at, and we will put an executive session on. I will also flag for folks that we have a couple of folks running for council who are currently on committees. I don't think any of them are on the tiny committees that are only 3 people, so it probably is not relevant, but I was interested. I was like, that's great, people getting committees, and then it makes them interested to potentially run for council. I think that's great. And I do think, if they were on some of these tiny committees, we might have to look at trying to refill, but I think they're not. I believe both of the candidates on committees are on large committees. I think we have one on the DIB and one on the planning board, I think, right now.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Anyway, great. Nice
Cool.
to see you or hear you, Jacob.
All right. See you guys. See y'all. Bye.
Like,
Cody, are you doing the recording?
Yep,
Yeah, you got it then?
yep, we'll end it here, thanks.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we ever officially